Hey guys, listen to this video and I'm going to chime in at the end.
If you want to know what's going on in this country, you have to be able to handle the fact that in Genesis chapter 6, Satan, the only way he could hijack the human race was to get into their genetics and to interbreed and then get human beings to disqualify themselves because they weren't fully human. Okay, so now in Nimrod, in the Nimrod days, Nimrod was one of these hybrids. He was like Goliath. It says he was a Hagaborum, with a mighty one, just like Goliath was. And when he came into power, it says that he was a mighty hunter before the Lord, is what it says in King James. Well, that's wrong. It says he was a hunter of men. He was a hunter of men. He built walled cities to keep men in. He was Satan himself. This is Antichrist. Nimrod is the Antichrist spirit. So he became Gilgamesh. He escaped to Ur. And so God called Abraham out of Ur and made a nation against this Antichrist spirit. Why is nobody saying any of this stuff? So Gilgamesh was Nimrod. Nimrod was deified. He was a mason. He was a mason. He built the Tower of Babel. He was the first mason. He put his initial, Gilgamesh, G, in his symbol. Mystery Babylon, as the book of Revelation says. So I don't understand why there's all these controversies and why people are fighting each other. It's just pretty plain to me. And Mystery Babylon is a mystery for one reason. We need to get out of diapers and get rid of bottles before we can handle this kind of stuff. It's all part of the plan of Satan to take over the earth completely by entrapping human beings.
So after watching that video and realizing a lot of the things said were just a bunch of bullshit and just easily researched, if you just opened the book or looked at any scripture, you could kind of see that we've never been able to prove Gilgamesh and Nimrod were the same being. And I mean, Nimrod had one eye, as you can see here. And so did Odin. Odin had one eye as well, one of the Norse gods. But so after watching this video, I went to go look into who really is Nimrod? What is this story of Nimrod? And so my understanding basically is that Nimrod is behind the Tower of Babylon, which was this great big tower we learned about in Genesis, I think chapter 10, that wanted to reach up to the heavens and basically go against God. And that's what the name, essentially, Nimrod means. So Nimrod apparently comes from the Hebrew verb marad, which essentially means we will rebel or come and rebel. So Nimrod, the name, means to rebel. But if you're familiar with the story of Noah, essentially Nimrod is the great grandson of Noah. So Noah had a son, well, he had 3 sons, but one of his sons his name was Ham. Ham had a son named Cush, and then Cush had or begat Nimrod. But so returning back to what that video touched on a little bit about how Nimrod was this mighty hunter, mighty man, that's something that piqued my interest to look into, because what is this mighty man? The mighty man actually comes from the Hebrew Gibor, and Gibor essentially means giant. So how did Nimrod become a giant? Because it has been theorized by many biblical scholars that perhaps there was some dark black magic rituals or something that Nimrod knew about and practiced. Maybe some kind of thing that he got from the fallen angels or the fallen one would turn him into a mighty man. It's still not really known today what this means, that he became like a mighty man. So there is this theory that by performing possibly black, dark sex magic, somehow Nimrod was able to become like this mighty man. And so that led me to the book of Yasher, which actually goes into a lot more depth of this Nimrod story, right? So oddly enough, in the book of Yasher, chapter 27, it talks about how Esau ends up killing Nimrod, right? And how they were both in this field hunting. It's kind of odd, which makes me wonder, about the mighty hunters. Were they really mighty hunters of men? It kind of seems that they might have been. So, but anyway, I'm reading this from the book of Yasher, and it's saying that when Esau killed Nimrod and cut off his head, he also took off of Nimrod Adam's garments. And I'm like, what are these Adam's garments? And apparently this was skin. This was literal skin that the Most High or whatever had given Adam and Eve when they had their fall from the Garden of Eden. And it's further said in this chapter that this is what made Nimrod strong and mighty. It says, and Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments, and God gave him might and strength, and he was a mighty hunter in the earth. Yes, a mighty hunter in the field. And he hunted the animals, and he built altars, and he offered them. Okay, so this is saying essentially that these were some kind of garments that could turn Nimrod into a giant? And just side note, I also found it interesting that it said Esau killed Nimrod and like cut off his head, because there have been theories that you had to actually physically cut off the heads of giants in order for them, I guess, to truly die. But so just a quick recap on this whole Nimrod story is that essentially Nimrod was the king of Babylon after the flood, and wanted to build this Tower of Babel, or this quote unquote ziggurat, up to the heavens to turn people against the Most High and to worship themselves, is my understanding. He was, I'm assuming, a normal human being, and essentially turned himself into a giant or mighty man somehow, possibly through black dark magic or through these skin garments of Adam's that were passed down and that now Esau has stolen and has. It's actually also theorized that the constellation Orion, or the mighty hunter, is actually Nimrod. And the last thing I really wanted to say is that while I was looking into this whole Nimrod story, I ended up coming across something that linked the Baha'i faith religion to Nimrod. And I thought, well, what does Nimrod have to do with this Baha'i religion? Well, apparently their theories or stories go that there was a star in the sky, which I will have to honestly look into more, but there was some star in the sky or something that Nimrod dreamed about, which was the coming of quote unquote Abraham. And that this Abraham was going to be, you know, the enemy or the one to go up against Nimrod, which is, I guess, how he gets also this Antichrist label on him. I mean, there's also a ton of theories that this Nimrod, this name also goes back to actually being Baal, or Baal, the sun god, and him and Baal's wife Ashtaroth, which in, I guess, Egypt would have been Isis and Osiris, but also in Greek it would have been Aphrodite and Cupid. But I just find it really interesting that they came across these magical skin garments that can possibly turn you into a giant, and now Esau may have them. And where's Esau? Does anyone know? So I just wanted to share with you guys, you know, this story of Nimrod as I'm learning it myself, because I just don't want to take what I hear on a video as truth and fact. I actually want to look into it and not just say, oh yeah, Nimrod was Gilgamesh, that was the first Freemason, and like just have no background or foundation of where this information even comes from. So I just wanted to share this quick little rundown of what I found on Nimrod with you. And if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. And thank you guys for watching.